You wanted to learn about building wealth, right? And you gave us some interesting material to dive into. It's a podcast episode called The Path to Real Wealth: 7 Key Principles to Avoid Common Pitfalls.
Hmm.
It's not about getting rich quick, though. It's about building, like lasting financial success.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a treasure map, but instead of leading to buried gold, it guides you toward, a richer, more fulfilling life.
Exactly. And that's really the key here.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about money. It's about the freedom and security that come with true wealth.
Hmm.
Being able to make choices
Yeah.
that align with your values.
Yeah,
So are you ready to uncover some of these principles?
absolutely. Let's dive into the first one, which might surprise you. The episode emphasizes building skills and equity over chasing money.
Right.
Forget those get-rich-quick schemes. This is about a much more sustainable approach.
Think of it this way. Imagine 2 people. One works a job they hate just for the paycheck. The other invests their time in honing valuable skills.
Yeah.
5 years down the line, who do you think is better positioned for success?
Mm-hmm.
The one with the paycheck might have some cash,
Mm.
but the one with the skills has built an asset that can generate income for years to come.
It's like the difference between renting and owning a house.
Mm-hmm.
Renting provides that temporary shelter. Owning builds equity and long-term security.
Yeah.
So how do we invest in ourselves to build those valuable skills?
Well, it starts with, figuring out what your strengths and interests are.
Hmm.
What are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy doing?
Right.
These are clues to the skills that you can develop that will bring you both personal fulfillment and financial rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're a creative person with a knack for design.
Yeah.
Maybe you invest in a graphic design course or start
Yeah.
building a portfolio.
Yeah.
That's an investment in yourself that can lead to, a fulfilling career and financial independence.
Okay. So we're building valuable skills, but what about equity?
Equity is about owning something that grows in value over time. It could be a piece of real estate, stocks, or even a business. Now, acquiring these things often requires some initial capital,
Right.
but there are also creative ways to build equity with limited resources. Imagine you're passionate about baking and start selling your creations at a local farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
As your business grows, you might invest in a food truck, expanding your reach and your equity.
Okay.
It's a step-by-step process, but each step builds toward a stronger financial foundation.
So we're ditching the get-rich-quick mentality and focusing on building skills and equity for the long haul.
Yeah.
That brings us to the next principle, which tackles a common trap: the allure of the luxury lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. We've all seen those flashy social media posts, the fancy cars, designer clothes, exotic vacations.
Mhm.
It creates this illusion of wealth, but often it's just a facade. People fall into the trap of trying to keep up with the Joneses, spending beyond their means to project an image of success.
Yeah, it's a classic case of champagne taste on a beer budget. So how do we avoid this trap?
The key is to shift your focus from material possessions to experiences and investments that truly matter.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of buying that expensive car to impress others, invest in a reliable vehicle that gets you where you need to go.
Okay.
And use the savings to fund a passion project or invest in your education. The source had a great example of this. They mentioned a study that found people who prioritize experiences over material possessions report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction.
That makes sense. So we're investing in ourselves, building equity, and avoiding the trap of chasing fleeting status symbols. What's the next principle that can help us on this path to real wealth?
Well, this one might seem counterintuitive, but it's all about the power of collaboration. In a world that often glorifies individual achievement, this episode highlights the importance of working with others, not against them.
I love that. It's about understanding that we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can achieve far more when we leverage the strengths of others and combine our talents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. Even the most successful entrepreneurs and business leaders rely on teams of talented individuals.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs didn't build Apple alone, and Elon Musk doesn't single-handedly launch rockets into space.
Right.
They surround themselves with people who possess, complementary skills, creating a synergy that drives innovation and success.
It's like assembling a dream team. Each person brings their unique expertise and perspective to the table, but how do we find the right people to collaborate with?
Well, it starts with being clear about your own goals and your strengths.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? What skills do you bring to the table? Once you have a a good understanding of yourself, you can start identifying individuals or groups who align with your vision and complement your abilities.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like putting together a puzzle. You need the right pieces to create the complete picture. So we've got our skills, we're building equity, we're avoiding the luxury trap, and we're embracing collaboration. What's the next principle that can help us navigate this path to real wealth?
This one is particularly relevant in today's world. Managing inputs to avoid cognitive overload.
Ah, yeah,
We are bombarded with information from all directions.
totally.
News, social media, advertisements, expert opinions. And it can be overwhelming, especially when it comes to finances.
It's true. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. How do we filter out all this noise and focus on what truly matters?
The key is to be intentional about the information you consume.
Okay.
Instead of passively scrolling through social media or clicking on every clickbait headline, actively seek out sources you trust. Experts with proven track records and information that aligns with your goals.
So instead of chasing every hot stock tip or falling for the latest financial fad, we need to develop a discerning eye, right? How do we know which sources are credible and which ones are just noise?
That's where critical thinking comes in. Look for sources that are transparent about their methodology.
Yeah.
They cite their sources and present a balanced perspective. Don't be afraid to question what you read or hear, and seek out multiple viewpoints before making any financial decisions.
It's like being a detective. We need to gather evidence, cross-examine the facts, and draw our own conclusions. Now, let's move on to a principle that might seem a bit counterintuitive when it comes to wealth building. Staying humble and embracing a growth mindset.
Right.
It's not something you typically associate with financial success, is it?
You might be surprised. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. It's about acknowledging that you don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn, and that you can benefit from the wisdom and experience of others.
It's about being open to new ideas and approaches, right? Not being afraid to admit when you're wrong and being willing to adjust course.
Exactly. A growth mindset is essential on the path to wealth because it allows you to adapt to changing circumstances, embrace challenges as opportunities for learning, and continuously improve your skills and knowledge.
So instead of viewing setbacks as failures, we see them as valuable lessons that help us grow and get closer to our goals. That ties in nicely with the next principle, which is all about taking responsibility for your success. Instead of blaming external factors or waiting for someone else to hand you success, you take ownership of your choices and actions, and you focus on what you can control.
It is empowering, isn't it? And it leads to solutions, not excuses. If you're not happy with your current financial situation, instead of blaming the economy or your job, ask yourself, what can I do to change it?
So it's about focusing on our own actions and taking steps to improve our situation, rather than dwelling on things we can't control. Now, the final principle might seem a bit intimidating to some. Embracing risk and expanding your comfort zone.
Sure.
It can be scary to step outside of what feels safe and familiar, especially when it comes to our finances.
It's true that growth often involves taking risks, but the key is to take calculated risks. It's not about throwing caution to the wind and gambling recklessly. It's about doing your research, assessing the potential rewards and downsides, and making informed decisions.
So it's like being a tightrope walker.
Yeah.
You need to maintain your balance while also pushing yourself to take that next step. But how do we strike that balance between being cautious and being bold?
It starts with understanding your own risk tolerance. How comfortable are you with the possibility of losing money? What level of uncertainty can you handle? Once you have a good grasp of your own risk appetite, you can start exploring opportunities that align with your comfort level.
It's like choosing the right hiking trail. Some people, they thrive on those challenging, steep climbs, while others prefer a more leisurely stroll.
Right.
Knowing your own limits and preferences helps you make, informed decisions about which risks to take. You know what else resonated with me from the source? It's that this journey toward building wealth, it isn't just about accumulating money for ourselves. They talked about leaving a legacy.
That's such an important point. When we think about building wealth, it's easy to focus on those personal benefits.
Yeah.
But true financial freedom, it also gives us the opportunity to make a positive impact on the world around us.
It's like planting a tree whose shade you may never enjoy, right?
Yeah,
It's about thinking beyond ourselves and considering the ripple effect our actions can have on future generations. What resonated with you about this idea of legacy?
What reminds me of the power of compound interest, but applied to good deeds. Small acts of generosity and kindness, they can multiply over time,
Yeah.
creating a positive impact that extends, far beyond our own lives.
Yeah.
Imagine using your wealth to support a cause you're passionate about, mentoring young entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
or investing in sustainable businesses that benefit both people and the planet.
Hmm.
Those actions can create a ripple effect that contributes to a better world.
Those are great examples. It's not just about writing a big check. It's about being thoughtful and intentional with our resources. And
Hmm.
and it circles back to the idea of collaboration and teamwork we discussed earlier, right?
Hmm.
We can achieve so much more when we work together toward a common goal.
Absolutely. Building wealth is not a solo endeavor. It's about working together, supporting each other, and lifting each other up. And this brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with. We've explored these 7 principles for building wealth, and it might feel like a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But remember, the most important step is to take action.
It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal but never actually cooking it.
Right.
We need to take those ingredients, the knowledge, the strategies, the mindset, and put them into practice. What's one small action our listener could take today to start putting these principles to work?
Well, it could be as simple as creating a budget, setting a financial goal, or maybe seeking out a mentor. The key is to start somewhere, even if it's just a small step. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, and I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered to take control of your financial future. Building wealth is a journey, not a destination.
It's about making consistent progress over time, celebrating small victories, and never giving up on your dreams. Remember, you are the architect of your own financial destiny. Embrace the challenges, stay curious, and never stop learning and growing. We're cheering you on every step of the way.